Okay, does anybody have comments on that?
Yeah, I do. Considering the fact that the blogs will often say, what is Mayor James doing about crime? I am upset about it all the time. The reality is that the majority of the violent crime occurs in an 8 square mile area in the city. The reality is that of all the murders, over 70% are African American. The reality is of the suspects that are arrested, 80% are African American. The reality is that 50% of those crimes occur inside closed doors where they're not going to be seen and detected by police on the street or passers-by. And the reality is that almost every single one of them is committed with a handgun. And the reality is that this city, the city officials, well-meaning people, are absolutely 100% totally powerless to regulate, stop, take handguns off the street. The reality is that I've gone to the chief of police and said, I would like for you to just go ahead and like when the kid was shot walking down the street, 17 years old, by an idiot in a car driving by with a handgun, or when another kid was shot in Westport by a guy in a car with a handgun as he approached the car to find out what was going on with his fiancée. I told Chief Forte, I really wish that we could just cordon off 6 square blocks, search every car for a gun. And the reality is, if we did that, we would be hooted out, booted out, criticized, cajoled, sued by the very people we're trying to protect, because there is a distrust of police and citizen that has existed in this city for quite some time. Fortunately, there is a police chief who is doing everything that he can to break that down, and so am I. I agree with you. Crime is a bad thing. Murders are absolutely horrendous. That is reaching not epidemic proportions, because quite frankly, it's been a lot higher in this city over the past 25 years. This is really kind of medium compared to where it's been in the past, to be real honest with you. And other crimes other than murders and violent assaults with deadly weapons are actually down. The violent crime is confined to a square area that if I had my druthers, some people ain't gonna like it. It's not going to be liberal. It's not going to be Republican. But I guarantee you one thing, it might be effective, and that is I would do everything I could to stop every vehicle I could that had any reason for me to suspect it, and I would look for guns, and I would get every gun that I could off the streets of this city, and people would stop dying at this ridiculous rate. But the people of this city will not support that. They will not. If they would, we'd do it, but they won't. So we're left with kind of a Hobson's choice. And the Hobson's choice is to do exactly what I believe Chief Forte has been right in doing, which is to redeploy his police forces as best he can to that 8 square mile area, so that when things go down, they're in a better position to respond, or by their mere presence, they might prevent some things. And the numbers indicate by the increased and rapid arrests and prosecutions that that tactic is working. But people still die, they're still getting shot, and it's still in the 8 square mile area. And there's all sorts of reasons why it happens in that 8 square mile area. But I agree with you, Craig. I know exactly where your shop was. You worked very hard in the campaign. I've been to your shop.